Welcome back to another episode of Oh My Lordi. I'm Tyler, and today we've got another guest with us. You got a treat this week because you got two special guests, one earlier in the week, one now. We got Riley from Romacker Mobile Detailing. Oh My Lordi podcast. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining me.
Hey, thanks for inviting me, man. I appreciate it.
Glad to have you on, man. It's funny because we talked a couple weeks ago, I think, and just kind of randomly out of a cold email, because you guys know, like, we talk to local businesses every single day, and I love having conversations, especially with young entrepreneurs. And when I got connected with Riley here, man, I was impressed. So I wanted to have you on here, man, and tell your story and kind of talk about what you see the next 5-10 years. Because what did you say you were, I think 18, 19 years old?
So I'm 17 actually.
17 actually. So it's even crazier than I thought. So, I mean, that's exactly why I wanted you on here, man, because I think so many kids like have that dream of being that entrepreneur. And I mean, you're living it right now at such a young age. Yeah. I wish I could go back to when I was 17, but I think the head that you have on your shoulders is crazy. And yeah, man, I'm excited to kind of dive into how you got here now, and then where you think you're going to take it. So give us a little intro, man. You don't have to go all the way back to kindergarten or anything, but like what kind of kicked off your although it wasn't too long ago. I had to throw that in there, but what kind of kicked off your entrepreneurial journey, and then what are you up to now, and where are you trying to take it?
Yeah, so I started back when I was 16 years old. So when I was 15, I was always trying to be an entrepreneur. So I did everything under the sun, mostly everything that was on TikTok. I do watch flipping, I do this. I mean, I did watch flipping, and then I also did a bunch of other like side hustles and such. But basically, I never really found much success. I did drop shipping as well. That also was a big fail. But I was 14 years old when I started, like, just trying to grind out. And I realized, I'm like, man, anything I'm doing online, it kind of sucks because I'm being prevented from doing a lot because I'm a young entrepreneur. Under 18, I can't buy a car. I can't really do much with banks. It gets a little annoying. So, well, I'm like, man, when I turn 16, I'm going to get my license. I'm going to start mobile detailing. So I've always been into cars, but I really like the business side of it. Like, cars are cool. I love cars, but I love business. I've always been like that. Been like leadership roles. I love stuff like that. So right when I turned 16, the week after that, I bought all the chemicals I needed, started, and then just kind of practiced on my family's cars, all that cool stuff. And then really started focusing on building that brand image and that SEO and all that. I learned it out the hard way, but I tried to post every single day, build that brand image, get that, like, my name out there, because I could be the best detailer in the world, but if no one knows who I am, I'm never going to get booked. So that's what I was trying to do. I was just trying to build that brand image, and I worked on that really hard. And then I eventually worked up to the point where we'd be getting actual clients I didn't know of. So a lot of them would just be family members or friends, but now it's like these random people are booking. I thought this is crazy. So then I started automating everything. So I'd say right around 6 months into my business, I started automating. So our CRM, everything that within our business is automated. So our customer can go on and book an appointment. They'll select the slot. It generates them a quote. So let's say, hey, I have dog hair. This 1 to 10. This is how dirty my vehicle is. And it'd be like, do you want to put on this add-on, this ceramic coating on the interior? Yes or no, blah, blah, blah. But it ends up giving them like a quote, just like if you do insurance quotes, it's kind of like you walk through a bunch of questions and you get the final price at the end. That's what we do. And then puts them on the calendar. So then I just go on my phone and it'd be new job this time. And then we'd have our employees, and then they'd be sent out to them. So basically locked in with that. Probably one of the biggest mistakes I made when doing mobile detailing is it really is super hard, especially for young entrepreneurs in this generation, is you go on social media, and this quote is amazing, but it's comparison is the thief of joy. You see all these guys, hey, I'm 17 and I make 80K a month. And then this guy's got a Lambo at 18. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I feel like I've done so much, but I feel like I've done so little at the same time. So I got so sidetracked on, well, maybe I should just stop detailing, and I try to do wholesaling real estate. And like, I'm just trying, like, well, what else can I do? Right. And I deferred my actual focus to what worked into things. Maybe I can start this, maybe I can do this. But I realized if I just really locked in on what I wanted to do, which was detailing from the start, I could have had so much more success. So once I kind of learned that out, then I started detailing a lot more, and I got really lucky, honestly. We got a corporate contract on our hands for Barry Waymiller, which is a $12 billion company. And basically the fleet specialist posted in our local community group. And my parents sent that to me because they're always on the Eureka Peeps. That's what our name is on the community. But they're always like scouring it for me. So I had people send that to me. And I'm like, okay, this guy's saying, hey, we're looking for a detailer that can come out to this address. It would be twice a week, and we're detailing Audis, BMWs, Maseratis, all these very high-end cars for their executives. So I reached out to him, followed up. I'm good with the following up and all that. So I ended up going through, and I actually got that contract. And now we're actually working to do their employees' vehicles as well as leased employees, or like the leased cars they give out to their high-end executives. Now we're doing the employees, which will be starting on March 5th. But all in 1 year, because that's how long my business is. I've been in business for a year. And all in 1 year, I've already landed corporate contracts. And I just built a mobile detail van. So water tank, generator, all that in it. So then all my guys can just plop up to the job, open up the back doors, detail it, wrap it up real quick onto the next job. All about efficiency and automation. But I got that all in 1 year.
That's crazy. I literally think you just talked about, a 5-10 year journey in most people's business life in the last whatever couple of minutes, and you did it all in a year. So I think, we in our last conversation, we talked about how you automated everything, but I want to go back to, kind of the beginning, right? Because you realized something so early on in your business that there's people 5-10 years into their business that they don't even ever realize. And again, I talk to businesses in the space almost every day, and I don't say that lightly. Like, you figured out what most people never figure out or don't figure out for a long time. So that was really your positioning and your branding, right? And if you can do that, right, and then focus on SEO and the connections that you're making, you're going to set yourself up, and you can clearly see that you've done that. So like, how did you learn, I guess, that SEO was important, that branding was important, that positioning yourself was so important?
Yeah, well, mainly I saw online to post every single day. And with me, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do 110%. So if it says post once a day, then I will be posting once a day on absolutely every platform. So I saw that's what other people are doing. And the biggest thing is when starting out, especially with how amazing, and ChatGPT wasn't as good at that time as it is right now, but YouTube being out there and all these people who are in the position you want to be in, and so much guys will just try to figure it out themselves. But I really use okay, I'm seeing this guy's got an awesome business. He's got a bunch of YouTube videos. I'm going to watch every single one, and I'm going to copy and paste everything he does, all the chemicals he uses, all the processes, bang, now it's mine. So I'm taking other people's years of success and learning that they spend so much time and money on, and I'm just copy and pasting it, because a lot of things on the internet are just free to copy and paste. So 100%. I kind of figured that out. And once I saw that, once it started working, where people were even people not interested in detailing, they'd be like, oh, are you the guy who does the detailing business? Yes, I am, right? So people are knowing me as the guy who owns this detailing company, which is awesome because it's branding my personal brand, which is awesome, and then my actual business. So now my local community, if I'll go out to a restaurant, a lot of the times at least one or two people will say, hey, are you the guy that owns Romacker Detailing? Yeah. Because
how good of a feeling is that?
Yeah, It is a cool feeling. It is a cool feeling.
That's awesome, man. And I think the biggest thing to realize with what you're saying, you weren't afraid to just go out and copy what works. And one of my favorite quotes is "Success leaves clues," right? And I think so many people try, and they're stubborn, right? And they try and do it their own way, or they feel bad for maybe copying. Guys, I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Success leaves clues. Right. And then the next thing you said, I think, was comparison is the thief of joy. Right. I literally messed with someone that today, and they were like, thanks for your words of wisdom. I'm like, I didn't make that up. Right. Success leaves clues. Right. So I think that's so important. And it's, again, crazy to me that at 17 years old, you're hitting these points that, most people never figure out. I'm telling you right now, I talked to probably a 50-year-old today, definitely doesn't have it figured out like you do. right? And I think, you still have a lot to figure out and a lot to build on, but man, you're setting a solid foundation for it, and I love it. So
Absolutely.
let's touch on, because I love the fact that you are working with a big corporate contract. Talk to me about the process of landing that, right? You mentioned you're not afraid to follow up, and that was kind of the key to that. I mean, without giving us maybe the secret sauce, can you tell us what the ins and outs of that were?
Yeah. So basically what happened with that is I got in a lucky position where someone was reaching out to a bunch of people saying, hey, I need a detailer, right? So that's a call to help. That's a pain point. Something happened. They need a detailer. And if it's a big company like that, they need it quick because they're not waiting around because they have 300 employees there. There's a bunch of cars going in and out of everywhere. So they need a vehicle. They need a detailer, So I was immediately going to prance on that, So what I did is I just made sure to follow up. So I messaged him, followed up, and then eventually got into a meeting with him. And once I got plugged in my computer. Once I got into a meeting with him, that's kind of when everything started getting sold. So I'm very driven, and people can see that. People can always see if you're very confident, if you're very driven. So I told him, okay, here's what my business is going to offer. Here's what I'm going to do for you. And a lot of the good thing is when you're in a contractor based business like detailing is, a lot of the times people overpromise the world with you're going to have the best results and I'm going to do it this time, this day, blah, blah, and they never follow up on it. Right? There's so much people who say they're going to do something, but then they don't do it. Right? So what I found is having a really solid communication works so well. So with our CRM, we actually have a message that goes out to our customers when we're on the way to their house. When we arrive to their house, we take before photos, their after photos, and it gets reported to their Carfax. Everything, there's a communication for every process that we do. So they're always updated and they always know what's happening, because that's what we advertise for, is hiring clients, and they want to know what's going on with their vehicle. How is it going to work, right? So landing these contracts, but this one contract, that is what we showed. We say, hey, we're going to have really good communication. We're going to follow up. We're going to make sure every detail is good, but also the system of it, how we're going to detail it, how fast we're going to do it. Because a lot of the time, these guys, you can't really play around and say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, and say, never mind. How about this day, this day? They need it done, right? So when you have that good communication and you have the systems in place, that's very attractive to those type of businesses.
Yeah. I think it's important to know who you're dealing with too, because everybody's different, right? So in that sense, you had to get right down to business, right? You give them exactly what they needed to know, and then obviously sell yourself, because especially, you tell me, is it harder being a younger kid trying to sell a big company like that, or is it just you have so much confidence it doesn't even matter?
Yeah, for some people who would be typically scared in situations like that, I've done so much door-to-door sales where I'm getting kind of bulletproof to it. The actual part where I'm meeting with them, a lot of times I feel like I kind of get an advantage being a young entrepreneur because people can really see that dedication. If I was just a normal 25-year-old, then I just kind of look like every 25-year-old new business owner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm very different, which is very attractive to those, clients, is because they're wanting, high work ethic, high motivation, high confidence, and that's what I offer them. So I feel like sometimes it can be an advantage, but also sometimes can be stubborn. Some people can say, I don't think you're going to do well if you're this much old. But since I really brand everything with my business about the business itself and not just, hello, I'm the detailer, because I don't want it to be all about me, because I want to hire employees, right? No one's going to want to have the employees selected on the job if all they see is Riley Romacker, right?
Yeah.
So, that's one big thing. But, showing my business itself rather than just me all the time. So doing that, sometimes people can be stingy if you are younger, but a lot of times people can find that as a good part, and a good thing that you have a good work ethic, even when things are harder to do everything, especially when you're under 18 with anything legal, banks, or really anything. All I just get to see is you're under 18, you can't do this, you can't do this, and just finding a workaround and finding a way to make things work,
Yeah. So, you obviously, you failed a lot, lost a lot, even at 17, right? So you said you did door-to-door sales. I'm sure you got pounded and got a lot of no's, right?
Oh yeah.
So, that gave you thick skin, I'm sure. I think that's huge for people. They can't be afraid of the no, right? And I think a lot of people are. And that's why they don't get to that next level, right? Again, I know businesses 5, 10 years old that don't position their brand over themselves, right? And then they get stuck. So the fact that you're doing that now is huge. What else kind of sets you guys apart? I mean, where do you see, you guys going in the next, even a year or two? And what has made your, branding and positioning so strong to get you there quickly? Because obviously you're moving at light speed right now.
Yeah. So right now we're actually Eureka's number one, which is the community we're in. We're the number one detailer, highest reviewed on Google. And basically our plan is to constantly take risks. So a lot of people are going to say, oh, I got to a point where now I'm making 10K a month. Oh, now I'm kind of booked out. Now it's kind of nice. And they kind of just chillax there. Well, when I get to that point, I want to do double. And then when I get to that point, I want to do double. So a lot of people, when they get comfortable, when they get, oh, now I'm getting booked out. I got employees. Oh, it's kind of nice. I'll just sit back and relax. It's time to take more risks so you can have more reward. So if I could either just have one van that's always sent out and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. I'd rather just take that money that I'm making and then put it into another van, So now I can have a larger radius that we can travel to. I can have more employees, and a lot of these people, especially higher end clientele, they say, I want a detail and I want it done in 2 days. A lot of times I have to say, sorry, it's gonna have to be at least a week, So being able to say, hey, I can get this done really soon because we have so much, vans. But I think in a year, my goal is to have at least another van in a shop. Because once I turn 18, then I can actually get a location. So probably right when I turn 18, I'm probably going to go ahead and get ahead with the shop, because that is kind of our next step, to offer higher end services like PPF, tinting, such like that, wrapping. We do ceramic coatings, which is a very high ticket one, but we need to do more. And having a shop is going to be really resistant when weather is all there. Like mobile detailing, I cannot detail under pretty much 35 degrees. Right. And I have to shut down a little bit of my business or just go to our corporate contracts because it's like heated down there. But still, a lot of my business gets killed in the winter. But if I had a shop, that wouldn't happen. So take a risk again and get the shop and get more vans and get more employees. Just constantly grow. The 10X rule, Grant Cardone. You find what works and you just keep doing it again and again.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're already hitting some growing pains, but it sounds like you've realized that already and you're ready to take it to that next level. Unfortunately, you're not 18 yet and you can't do certain things, but I don't think that's going to stop you at all. I think you're going to hit the ground running as soon as that happens. So, dude, I'm super excited to watch your journey. What would you say to people that, are maybe 15, 16, 17, man, even 20, 25 that are looking at, doing something like this? Maybe it's not detailing, maybe it's anything in the entrepreneurial space. What would you say to them? Like, what's been your biggest, motivation and kind of, stepping stone into this lifestyle?
Yeah. Well, one quote I like is, be inspired by the fear of being average. So I never wanted to live the life that everyone else does. Right. And some people are comfortable with, guys kind of want to relax, have, whatever, right? It's kind of relaxed, lower end goals. And that's totally okay for some people, but that's just not me. Right. So for people around my age, 15, 16, 17, my biggest message to them is right now, if I took all the risk in the world, which I already do take a lot of risk, if I took all the risk and it completely failed, I'm still living in my parents' house. There's nothing really, I don't have kids to feed. I don't have like a bunch of expenses. If my business fails, I'm still in the same place I ended up in, right? Like I'm still right where I started, which is my parents' house. That's where I live. If everything fails, I'm still back here and I still have dinner made for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of people are in a really good position where they're thinking, oh, when I'm younger, I'm just gonna chillax, have fun and go party around. But then now they're like, okay, now I'm kicked out the house. Now I have to have rent due by the end of the month and all that stuff. Well, if everything fails, you have a lot more risk, right? And then a lot can go wrong when things fail. Right now, if things fail, it's just a waste of my time, but it's also a lot of experiences I'm going to learn, but I'm always going to end up in the same position as last time, right? So the biggest thing is just really right now when you're young, there's no better time to start, right? Because knowledge it's a hard thing. You're going to have to learn by failure. And if you never take the failure and you never get into it, you're never going to see reward. No risk, no reward. So if you don't start, it's just going to be harder the longer you wait. So that's why I started really young, so I can see the success. By the time I'm 20, my goal is to be a millionaire by 20. So I just keep grinding out. And now, usually around kind of 20 past that, when people start thinking, oh shoot, maybe I have to maybe start a business or maybe do this, I'm already going to be so much ahead of them. So just having a mindset, a go-getter mindset, just get right into it. I'll get the hard part done right now in these few years, like this much of my life, for a benefit of all the other part of my life. Like that is totally worth it to me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I think, it's definitely good if you're young to hear something like this and know that, I mean, you got your whole life ahead of you, right? And you can start 5 years from now, but the best time to start is like yesterday, right? So, but even if you're 30, 40, 50 listening to this, the coolest thing is in the era that we're in, you could start a business today or tomorrow and be super successful. There's 50, 60 year olds, starting businesses and turning them into $1 million plus businesses, in a year or two. So, that's the cool thing with the AI age that we're in. But man, it's crazy at 17 years old, all the opportunity and all the, like you said, all the risk that you're able to take and willing to take. Because at the end of the day, what's going to be different if it all fails, right? Exactly. You can do it over again 1 million times. So I'm not worried about you at all, man. I think we need more people like you. Yeah, I'm excited. So what do you think, 5-10 years from now? You said you want to be a millionaire at 20. What do you think 5-10 years now, your business looks like? Yeah,
so 5 to 10 years, my actual goal right now. So I have a very big goal. 5-10 years, so we're actually doing like a course in mentorship and acquiring students. My goal in 5 to 10 years is to the point where I have so much of a radius that we're going to franchise. So I want to franchise my business. There's already other detailers that subcontract other detailers. So there'll be like All American Detail or like just random companies. Whenever you search up mobile detail in your area, it'll pop up first, or it's like Detail USA, but it's like, they're not just one detail company. It's a company all over America, and then they find detail companies to subcontract and then give them jobs, right? So what I want to do is not that, but I want to franchise, because there's never been a detail franchise before. It's like McDonald's, all that stuff. And a lot of people will go to this one company called H2O Auto Supply, and these guys will drain a bunch of money into this super expensive van, and then they'll do this, and then they'll do this, but like they don't have the brand image, they don't have all the customers there yet. Right. So if I could sell a franchise and literally say, hey, I already have some clients that are already interested in this area. If you sell this franchise, I can pretty much almost guarantee you that you'll have success. Here's the van. I'll give that to you. That'd be a part of the franchising fee, and give you the van with all the setup, the brand image, all that, and be the first detailing franchise. So that's what awesome. Our goal is going to be for that.
And I mean, you're already kind of setting the foundation for that, even with all your systems and automations. And I think, again, out of all the people I talk to, I think, 1%, maybe even less, have it, figured out or are getting it right. Because they skip steps, right? And they miss the automations. And listen, you don't have to automate everything in your business, right? Like you still want that personal touch. But, when it comes to the SOPs and the employee management and all your systems and processes, right? Like that's super important. You don't want to skip that stuff, because it's much harder to do down the line when you have other growing pains that you're dealing with, right? So, man, I applaud you for all the systems and automations you guys are doing now. I can definitely see that happening for you guys. That's awesome. What would you say to, maybe not entrepreneurs, but maybe potential customers in the area? Like what sets you guys apart versus any other shop or any other mobile service out there?
Yeah, so the big selling point for us is a lot of detailers, and I'm sure you probably know, but they're going to have packages. They have this silver package that does this and this. Like a lot of them are going to explain, hello, I'm going to be doing a pH neutral shampoo to your car with this 3-step shampooing process, whatever. Like whenever you go to get a steak dinner, they're not going to say, I preheated the oven to this much, and then they don't say that. They sell that. Yeah, they sell you the result, right? So we sell the result. So we have one set price, and we are expensive, and I tell my customers that, because that's a good selling point. I could say, hey, we're going to be expensive. 2 things happen. They're going to be comfortable. They're going to say, okay, he says it's going to be expensive. They're bracing for the price, or they're like, Oh, I thought it was gonna be $100 more than that. Oh, that's no problem then, right? So we say we're expensive, and we only have one set price. So if you want your car clean and you want it full detailed, it's gonna be this set amount. But I only want a quick vacuum. Well, then you're probably not our customer. If you want to do a cheaper detailer, then go at it. But we only deliver the highest quality results, which means we only have the highest quality reviews. A lot of people will sell someone on a lower end package, except they expected the higher end package results. They're not happy. They leave a bad review. They talk bad about the company. But we're going to do it for this much amount, and it's going to be perfect. And they love that, right? And some people will say, oh, it's too expensive for me, but that's all right, because a lot of times I don't want those clients. I don't want the ones complaining about price. I want them talking about the value that we provide. I mean, we are completely mobile. We can come to them while they're working, while they're doing anything. We go to them, we detail the whole car. They get before after photos, a Carfax report. They get absolutely everything they could ask for. And we're the only company in St. Louis that does that. And all of that with one set amount, and then we can also do reoccurring plans and all that cool stuff. But customers that focus on what's the value this brings to me, because time is money, right? So if they could spend hours and hours detailing their own car, if they want to do that, go ahead. Maybe you're not my customer, but people who really appreciate the value that we're providing to them, those are the customers we want to advertise towards. So that's how we advertise to our customers, pretty much.
I love that, man. I love that. And I caught a little bit of what you were saying earlier about the price bracing, right? And I know where you got it from. Talk to us about, how you picked that up and why that's so important to kind of set the tone for your selling, basically.
Yeah. So sales, I'm a really big fan of sales. I love selling things. And I forget his name. I don't know if it's Alex Hormozzi or it's this one guy. He's got a big beard. And he owns acquisition.com, big guy online, but he has amazing sales advice. So I listen to him a lot, but I take two things that he does, which is the bracing for the price. So they already kind of have an expectation, or they think it's, oh, that's cheaper. And then I also do a 1 to 10 close. So a lot of the time, the situation, the customers say, my vehicle has this, and this is what it needs. Identify their pain point and then sell them the solution. And then once I say, okay, well, what we can do for your vehicle is we can do this detail, blah, blah, blah. Here's going to be your result. Then I'll say, okay, I just want you to rate this real quick. 1 to 10, 1 being, I think it's a waste of my time and my money. Or 10 being, I think my car absolutely needs this right now. Where do you think you're at, right? A lot of time they'll say either 10, I'm ready to go right now, let's do it. Or they'll say 8. I'll say, okay, why not a 1? They'll say, well, I think it's awesome that you're going to come out to me. I like how you're going to shampoo the seats. I like how you're going to do a steam clean. I think my car needs that. So I find something, a pain point to go sell them on. And then I say, okay, well, what can I do to make that a 10? I say, well, I kind of wish, or two things they say, I wish you included, let's say, plastic protection. So I can just say, oh, that's my bad. I totally forgot to mention, I actually do include the plastic protection on that. So is it safe to say we're at 10, we can go through right now and get that on the schedule for you? And they say yes, and you're set off that. Or it's already at 10, there's like, okay, let's get into it right now. So that are two sales closing tips that we use. Don't want to spill the sauce too much, but that's
I was going to say, man, we might have to charge for this episode at this point. Man, you know what I mean? Like that is such good advice. And I think it's crazy that, again, I'm going to highlight the fact that you're 17 and you know these tactics. And truthfully, like, let's be honest, it's online. Like anyone can learn this information. Alex Hormozzi's king when it comes to, acquiring businesses and really just building up businesses and marketing in general, right? If you haven't read his books, $1 million lead or $100 million leads. And what's the other one? It's right here on my shelf, $100 million offers. Those two books are amazing. So I'm just, I'm in awe and I'm impressed, man, of the skills. And I think, if anyone watches this around the 28-minute mark or so, 27-minute mark, like that was absolutely gold, man. Absolutely gold. And I think that's already separates you guys 100%. And even doing that, it's not really pressuring anybody, right? It's just ultimately it's just figuring out where they're at. And I think if most people did that, they'd sell more, right? It's the people that, they're like, oh, well, this, that, and the other thing, and then they're like, oh, well, when you're ready, let me know. Well, you didn't figure out the true objection, right?
Yeah.
And the objection's always there. You just have to dig for it. And I think that's an amazing way, that 1 to 10 scale, amazing way to figure it out. And listen, at the end of the day, you know it, like you're not going to close them all, but I think that's amazing. I mean, talk to us again. Don't spill all the beans, but I think it's super important to know now that we're on the kind of like the topic of sales. Is it ever safe to text your pricing over, like, just if someone's like, hey, I want a detail, would you ever text your pricing to them?
So this is great that you brought this up, and I found this out the hard way. So we run ads on Yelp Ads, and basically you can do two things, and this is why I get a lot of customers off Yelp. They tell you, okay, I want to get a full detail. What's the price range? And then you type in the price range. It's gonna be $200 to $300. Every time, I never got one customer from that, right? Now I just say, hey, I think I'm gonna need a little bit more information. What's a good number and time to call you at? Bang, get them on the phone. And once I got them on the phone, a lot of times I'm gonna find out what their pain point is. Yep. So they're gonna say, hey, the car's been dirty. I got a bunch of salt in it, and I haven't detailed it yet, and it just needs to clean. Okay, what is preventing you from cleaning it right now? Or like, why can't you clean it right now? Oh, well, it's too cold outside. Oh, I don't have enough time. Okay, well, perfect. What do you do for work? Like, are you constantly at work and stuff? Okay, cool. We can come out to you, right? So you keep adding a value. So I'm selling them a solution. So I'm saying, okay, if you're at work, that's no problem. We can come to you, right? So that's gold that we're offering them. So now they're thinking, whoa, this is a lot more value. So when I tell them the price, they're going to think not just, whoa, that's an expensive car wash. They're going to think, oh, here's all the value he's providing to me, and here's why this price is justified. Yeah. So closing on the phone is 100% needed. Don't text your pricing.
Yep. You just stack that value, and you can't do that if you don't talk to the person, right? You just simply can't. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, you might be able to have that longer conversation over text, but still, no matter how far that text conversation goes, you get them on the phone. That's where you're going to have a much easier time closing, right? Because then you can start talking about tone and all that, right? But dude, I feel like we could be on here forever talking about sales with already the knowledge you have, and it's amazing. I think, we'll keep it simple. We won't blow people's minds too much, but I think, those two aspects that you just talked about are super crucial. And listen, if every business did it, then it'd be a lot harder, but let's keep them doing their thing and you do your thing. That way you crush it. No, but if you're not in the St. Louis market, right, take these tips. If you are, ignore them. Don't even listen. Right. So cool, man. I want to know, what's, it's crazy because you're 17, right? Because you have so much time, but like, what's beyond this, right? You talked about franchise. That's, that could be 10 years from now, that could be 5 years from now, that could be 10 years from now. But like, where do you see yourself at even 30, 40?
Yeah.
I wish I could go back to 17 again, knowing what I know now.
Absolutely. Well, I think by the time I'm 30, I haven't set my 30-year-old goal, but I know at 20, I want to be $1 million. Yeah. But I need to be at least 100 million to be like, okay, I'm cool now. Like, I need to have at least 100 mil. I have really high goals, and like, I want to, like, private jets. Like, that's what I'm trying to go for. I'm not just like, $1 million is awesome. I feel like it's a great starting point, but I feel like I want so much more. And what I'm really going to do that is just get a lot of passive income. So the franchising will do a lot of passive income. That's why I want to do that. I have looked a little bit into, real estate, stuff like that, Section 8 properties, all that cool stuff. And just kind of learn from that point. Right now, I'm in the point where I'm trying to, generate that money to where I'm like, okay, well, where am I going to put all this money? But I think real estate would be a good one just because the capital gains tax, where you can move the money real quick, not have to pay tax on it, because no one likes taxes. We can all relate on that. But
shout out to my accountant, zero taxes.
Yeah, man. But I really, at least by 40, I probably want 100 million. But I haven't done those goals too much. But I know 20, 100%. And it's not like I want to. A lot of people are going to say, I hope to get this. Same type of people who say, I hope maybe one day I can do this if I win the lottery. Like, you're literally making an excuse in that sentence right there. Just saying, I can't do it unless someone gives it to me. That's right. That is a terrible mindset. I hate when people say that stuff. So I don't say, I at least once I have this, I want to be like, okay, by the time I'm 20, I will have $1 million. When you think of it like that, it's not much of a well, if things fail, it's whatever, whatever. It's like, I need to get a million by 20. So the same thing, just drilling into discipline, like something so big is going to the gym, which a lot of people already do, but so much people need to understand that going to the gym builds your discipline. Insane, right? So I wake up at 3:40 a.m. and I go to the gym at 4:30 a.m. just because I only have so much time, and that's the time I can go to the gym. But it really drills in your discipline. I've never skipped one day. I've been going for months and months and months and months. But basically, it's not. I wake up at 4 is when I get out of bed. I give myself 3:40 to 4 to like wake and get ready. And then at 4 I get out of bed, and it's not maybe just 5 more minutes, or I'll just hit snooze. It's if it's 4, you're up, right? So a lot of people need to drill in that discipline, and when you drill in that discipline, your goals become so much easier to get because you're not giving yourself workarounds. Well, maybe I can wait a week or do this. I'm going to do this. When you think like that, it helps out a lot.
That's huge, man. That's huge. Again, another big golden nugget that people need to take. I think it's important too, right? Because you have crazy goals, which I think you should have goals that scare you, right? Especially at a young age. Now you might get knocked down to reality a little bit here and there, later on, but that's okay. You just reset and you create new ones. But I think it's super important. And I think right now you said something way earlier in the episode too, where you're like, it's important because you tried so many different things. It's important to keep your focus. And I think that's where a lot of people fail too, right? So right now you have a main focus. Yes, you have other goals and you want to do other things, but this is the tool to get you there, right? This is the journey you're on now, but you still have that stuff in the back of your mind. So I think that's pretty important to touch on as well, just to keep the focus, because there's so many shiny objects, in just even down to like, oh well, what coding should I use? I'll try this one or that one. If you do too many different things, you're never going to get anywhere, right? Yeah. So, absolutely. Man, I'm super impressed. I appreciate you hopping on the episode. This was awesome. Especially, I would expect this conversation from a 40-year-old or 50-year-old, which I've had from some of my mentors. But at 17, I think so many people can learn from you. I'm excited to continue to watch you on your journey. Do you have any last words of wisdom for us? Even older folks that aren't at the mindset that you are.
I just think, really just use other people's knowledge to your advantage. That's the main thing. When I started, if I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go detail on my first day I started detailing, and then I went to Walmart and I was like, maybe this would be good. Maybe this would be good. Everything would have took like 3 million times longer. So using other people's success is so beneficial to you, right? And just really locking in. Like, it only takes a year to like really change your life. Like, I'm not saying like I'm driving Lamborghinis right now, but in a year I've done a lot compared to the average 17-year-old, and my life's completely different just because I took 1 year and I really put my head down and got to work. But that 1 year, which is such a tiny amount of my lifespan, that it might have sucked and I might have had a bunch of failures and all this went wrong, but then all of this amazing activities, amazing success I'm going to get from it is going to come like for 50 plus years, just because 1 year I really put my head down and got to work, right? So really just getting to it, using other people's success and their knowledge and everything. There's so much free stuff, and ChatGPT is my best friend. If it's not your best friend, I could not have done all the things I do if I did not have ChatGPT. It's the best blessing ever. And especially right now, I feel like it's probably one of the easiest times to get rich, just because of all these AI things, and they're not completely established. Like, there's so much new AI companies that do this. Like, there's so much things that you can do right now with AI literally just coming out. This is insane that we're going through like this AI like revolution almost.
Yeah, crazy. No, absolutely.
But yeah, really just lock in, focus on your goals, use other people's success, other people's knowledge, which is all over the internet. Use that to your advantage and just lock in, and you will see the success 100%.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, dude, Riley, thank you so much for hopping on. Really appreciate the time and all the knowledge you spit out here, man. And guys, we'll see you next time.
All right. See you guys.